Howdy, good afternoon, everyone. This is Ricky from the Vitality Again YouTube channel with my health musings. Today we're going to talk about something a little weird. This is August of 2024, and I don't know, I'm on one today, ranting about health. So I just had a question about pregnancy and birth, and you're like, man, this guy talks about everything. Why do I want to listen to a guy about pregnancy and birth? Well, I have 4 kids. We've had all of our kids at home. I've talked for literally hundreds of hours with birthing professionals and birthing doctors. When I say birthing professionals, I'm talking about midwives. And I'm just going to share my experience real quick. When we had our first child, we lived in Las Vegas, and Candy and I were getting ready for our baby. My wife had a pretty serious back injury before we got married, and she was told that she would never carry a child full term, that she would probably have bed rest in the last 3 months of her pregnancy. And so I was scared, she was scared, so we went out, and I had heard that midwives give really great, really fantastic prenatal care. So we had our doctor. We had no intention of having our babies at home, and I was going to the doctor, and then I found a midwife, and we would do prenatal visits with the midwife and prenatal visits with the doctor. I just really wanted to make sure she was taken care of. Now, I'm a talker. I have lots of questions, and so we would go to a midwife appointment. We'd go to the doctor's appointment, and I'd ask him a question about something I'd learned or heard, and he'd answer like this: don't worry about it, that's my job. And I'd go away still anxious and nervous. You'd never feel anxious or scared to take a test that you're totally prepared for. So we were just trying to totally prepare for pregnancy and birth, and he would say, don't worry about it, that's my problem. Boy, I left with just as much anxiety. I didn't get my question answered. So then we'd go to a midwife visit, and I'd ask her the same question, and she would teach me for 45 minutes about how the body works, about pregnancy and birth. I'm going to start walking again here. And all of that, right? So I'm just going to kind of brain dump a couple of the things I learned that I think are really important. And I know, again, here's this man giving you pregnancy and birth advice. But if it rings true to you, do your own homework. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a really health conscious, interested in health and natural remedies guy. My wife and I do own a hormone clinic. But we are not the doctors. We hire doctors, and I screen them very well to kind of make sure they think clearly and they think outside of the box, and they treat you and not just your labs. Okay, so here it goes. Your body was made to give birth. That's how it was built. And if you'll support it in that, it'll do a great job. I have seen crack whores, when I lived in Vegas, give birth to a naturally healthy baby. Your body will sacrifice itself to protect that baby and help that baby get here healthy. Also, in other countries, people birth naturally all the time, and in this country, we have started to treat pregnancy like a condition or a medical condition or an ailment rather than something that your body needs to be supported to do. So let's talk about interventions from doctors. Let's just talk about the water sac for a minute. You talk about breaking your water, and sometimes they'll induce pregnancy by stripping your membranes, breaking your water, stuff like that. Sometimes they won't even ask you. Here's the deal, the way it was designed. Imagine your head going through the birth canal with no water sac around it, no pillow of water, just your head. Your head does all the work of opening that canal, all the pushing, all that. Now picture the same thing with this nice water bag around it, and the water doesn't break till you're at a 9 or a 10. That's the perfect scenario. It's more comfortable for both baby and for mom. That's just one thing. Think about that. I'm not going to draw any more conclusions on that. So just think about that. Think about that idea of a pillow around the baby's head. Baby's going to have less stress, less chance of C-section because he's going to have less heart issues, blood pressure issues, things like that, which they're monitoring when you're having a baby. So then let's talk about the next thing. They say, oh man, your first birth is going to take a while. Your body's getting used to it. All those hormones are loosening the joints and letting everything move around. And you've never done this before. So your body's getting used to it. First baby's going to take a few hours. What does the doctor do? He comes in, he says, well, she's not progressing. So let's give her this drug. This drug is called Pitocin. Let's give her some Pitocin. What does the Pitocin do? Well, usually you have contractions, and they go this way and that way to open you up more. And then you get a break. The baby gets a break. You get a break. And then the contractions start again. And as you get closer to the birth, the contractions come closer and closer. As soon as we give you a drug called Pitocin, those contractions, it's to induce the contractions. So the contractions, they go, and they never stop. More painful for mom. Mom doesn't get a rest. Baby doesn't get a rest. Pitocin, muscle cramp, right? Just contraction with no break. Pretty soon the baby's heart rate goes up because they don't get to rest in between contractions. And now the heart rate's up. We're in emergency. Better get this baby out fast via C-section. So those are just two things I'm going to talk about right now, right? Just those two. I just dropped those on you. You can do your own homework, but just think about that. Think about those things. And start doing your homework before you say, yeah, give me Pitocin. Yeah, induce labor. And, think about those things. Go do your own homework. Don't listen to me. Please go do your own homework on this. And, man, your life and your baby's life could be totally different. Maybe you won't have a C-section. Maybe you can actually enjoy the process. Imagine that. I know. He's a man saying that. But my wife doesn't like to be on video, or I'd have her tell you. But we've had a wonderful, wonderful experience with all 4 of our children. And I hope you too. Get your vitality back. Live with vitality again.